Scientists, inventors, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Maybe buzzing gizmos, beeping machines, alone in the dark, facing big challenges and solving big issues. Well, the reality is that it is all way more complex than that. And I want to zoom in one particular case. The case of Dr. Emmett Brown, the inventor that turned DeLorean into this big tech, a time machine. He did invented it, but who tested it? Who faced the outside lab real-world problem, learning the consequences of causality, making sure that Einstein's laws are obeyed, and then, that the parents will eventually have a healthy sex life? Would Dr. Emmett Brown ever succeed without Marty McFly and his entrepreneurial mindset that could read the market and predict that even if you aren't ready for it, your kids would absolutely love it? The truth is that the science often needs Marty's McFlys, the future navigators, somebody who can steer the ship, the plane, the rocket, and the public opinion. And history gives us example after example. Think James Goddard, for example, the pioneer of space travel, the creator of the first liquid fuel rocket that he launched in 1926. That is long before the Cold War, therefore long before the space race, and therefore long before the space hype. So there was a very little political thirst for such an endeavor. So he lacked for the public support, he lacked the cash. And then he met Charles Lindbergh, the celebrity pilot, the first person ever to fly across the Atlantic Ocean. And Lindbergh decided to endorse him. And this endorsement brought him the credibility he needed in the eyes of the public and in the eyes of deep pocket investors. Speaking of money, enter Harry Guggenheim, a wealthy businessman who threw his financial weight behind Goddard's rocket endeavors. Back then we might call him a fairy godmother of space tech. Today we would probably call him an angel investor. And there's one more thing every scientist needs, and that is the spark, the initial thing, that notch that gets them interested in the subject in the first place. For Goddard, it is believed to be two things. The first was a good book, a pioneer science fiction by George Wells, War of the Worlds, that he read when he was 16. And the second thing, as he later noted in his diary, was his cherry tree climbing experience. Because when he climbed that tree, he got closer to the stars. And on that tree branch, he decided that he wants to build something that will actually go to space. For me, well, I cannot really put the finger on the exact moment that I got interested in science or in a space tech. This is me working for European Space Agency, making my best to do the space tech the next big thing. But at the same time, you should see me before this, and you actually will, because I have a picture of myself before I joined. Here it is. This is me, a goldfish, and not in the sense of, you catching me and me granting you a wish. No. Here I stand talking about scientists, and it takes years and years of hard studying, and then another years and years of hard work to create something meaningful, truly disruptive. And yet, here I stand talking about that, while I cannot finish a single TED Talk on YouTube by myself. That's the attention span I have to cope with. I was really bad at school. I had a solid grade 2 in behavior in high school. I got kicked out of summer camp for some weed smoking escapade. What on earth will you grow into? That's a sentence that I heard a ton. At the same time, I still shared the Goddard dreams of reaching stars by climbing trees or, by other means. But to science, I remain a groupie, a spectator. Until this happened. During my studies in Indonesia, I had this tattoo done. It's a picture of Brontosaur, floating, being taken captive by a spaceship. Just a few months later, I watched the Crew Dragon launch, the first one. And there, when the Crew Dragon cabin reached the space as an indicator of the zero gravity environment, there it was. The Brontosaur toy, the exact kind of dino that I had tattooed floating in space. So obviously, I thought, well, this is my tattoo, and it's becoming alive. And not just that, just a few weeks after that, I found this exact toy on a gas station. So I thought, well, damn that. Who doesn't like a good coincidence? And I decided to try it, and I applied to European Space Agency, and I got in. And there, I had finally the possibility to channel the creativity that I felt, the energy I had, into something practical, into something meaningful. I launched stratospheric balloons. I got pretty personal with some rockets, shoot interviews with famous people, write articles, write short, funny videos, and write space stories. Later on, I joined the Deep Tech Venture Capital because I truly enjoyed seeing and witnessing the ideas coming from the de novo stage into DeLorean stage. I learned what money wants to hear, and I helped tech startups to shape their messages and fundraise. But while doing that, I still felt quite sheepish, not ever being the hardcore scientist myself, always being the Marty, never being the doc. But along my journey, I discovered one thing, crucial thing, and that is that the scientists cannot do it themselves. Goddard couldn't do it by himself. He needed the motivation, he needed the money, he needed the public support. Dr. Emmett Brown needed Marty McFly. The science need us, the translators, communicators, popularizers, fundraisers. They need the creative goldfish of the innovation ocean. Science itself, it doesn't thrive in isolation. It needs people like us that can bridge the gap and make it understandable. Because we, Marty's McFly of reality, we play this pivotal role in shaping, communicating, and translating the messages, ensuring that science remains acceptable and accepted, that it unites rather than divides. Because without science translators like us, we will never go back to the future. But we will slowly march forward, but to the past. Thank you for your attention.